Good evening. I'm Leland Vittert. On the program tonight, candidate Biden promised to turn Saudi Arabia into a pariah state. Now they get a presidential visit. What's the return on investment for a presidential change of heart? Live look right now at the radar in Miami for the first major storm of this hurricane season. However, forget 50 years of science, why everything we knew about hurricanes isn't true anymore. Pandemic price increases created a huge business for fake cheese. How the Parmesan police are fighting back. But first, on point tonight, everything and everyone has a price, including evidently President Biden's campaign promises. The national gas average at nearly $5 and California prices near $8 appears to be Mr. Biden's price. Today, we hit another record. $4.76 today. That's up from $4.20 last month, $3 last year, and well under $3 when Mr. Biden took office. It could easily be $6 by the end of the summer. So take whatever you pay right now and add $1.25. Mr. Biden's had enough and will reportedly head to Saudi Arabia later this month to meet with Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Why Salman? Well, Salman controls the spigot on the world's oil supply, and Mr. Biden needs oil, he needs it cheaply, and he needs it now.
The two challenges on the minds of most working families are prices at the pump and prices at the grocery store. The price of gas is up $1.40 since the beginning of the year, when Putin began amassing troops at the Ukrainian border. This is a Putin price hike, but actions have already helped to blunt that what would have been an even larger Putin price hike. As I said, I'm going to continue to use every tool available to me to further blunt those price hikes as we move forward.
To further blunt, so I guess the real headline is prices are going higher. Let's think about every tool for a second, though. Never mind for a minute, he's going to meet with the Saudis, but American oil companies are price gougers. Never mind the steps he could take to encourage rather than discourage domestic oil production. Never mind as we think about every tool repealing his executive orders from last year that crippled the American fossil fuel industry. Put all that aside because clearly the price of gas hasn't gotten quite high enough for that. There have, of course, been announcements about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and ethanol and taking on big oil and, all to lower gas prices. Well, as you can see from the chart, gas prices keep hitting records, literally, and his approval numbers keep hitting record lows. So now he needs some help. He needs a win. But there is a slight problem here for Mr. Biden. The one man who can help him, the one man who can lower gas prices in America, but still allow Mr. Biden to keep his boot on the throat of American oil. That one man is Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, a ruthless tyrant who's turned the Gulf state into a major player worldwide, far, far beyond oil. MBS, as he is known to friends. Well, one more problem. He ordered the killing of Washington Post journalist and Saudi dissident Jamal Khashoggi a few years ago. You might remember Saudi intel officers lured Khashoggi to their consulate in Istanbul, drugged him, cut up his body, and then claimed innocence. 3 years ago, the world was a different place. America was energy independent. The Saudis, well, were tyrants. Gas prices started with twos, and Mr. Biden was candidate Biden. Back then, as we said, the world looked a lot different.
Khashoggi was, in fact, murdered and dismembered, and I believe in the order of the Crown Prince. And I would make it very clear, we were not going to, in fact, sell more weapons to them. We were going to, in fact, make them pay the price and make them, in fact, the pariah that they are. There's very little social redeeming value in the present government in Saudi Arabia.
The government in Saudi Arabia hasn't changed one bit, but things here have, right? Fast forward 3 years, gas prices now start with 4s, 5s, and 6s. Mr. Biden's approval ratings hover near freezing. That's the low 30s on the economy. And suddenly the Saudis don't look so bad anymore.
Is the kingdom still a pariah in your eyes?
Look, I'm not going to change my view on human rights, but as President of the United States, my job is to bring peace if I can. Peace if I can. And that's what I'm going to try to do. There is a possibility that I would be going to meet with both the Israelis and some Arab countries at the time, including, I expect, would be Saudi Arabia would be included in that if I did go. But I have no direct plans at the moment.
It's all about peace, remember? Let's be honest. There'll be a visit, but this is the negotiation phase. Each side, each leader, pretends like they don't need a visit. Thus, their secretaries of state will negotiate a bunch of prearranged deals. For example, more oil from the Saudis in return for U.S. pressure on Israel to end settlements in the West Bank. Thus, when there is a visit, those 24 to 48 hours, boom, success, deliverables, pictures, and President Biden oversees getting wins for the American people, especially wins in terms of more oil. Every president does it, but in recent memory, it's hard to think of a U.S. president negotiating from a weaker hand. And the Saudis know this. They will want something more from Mr. Biden than empty promises about housing complexes for the Palestinians. I reported from the Middle East for 4 years. The Saudis could care less about the Palestinians, but they love using them. As we said, the Saudis will want something real. They will want silence and protection. Remember, 15 of the 19 9/11 hijackers came from Saudi Arabia. The families of those killed always believed the Saudis had a little bit more to do with the attacks than we ever knew. Perhaps some of the Saudi royal family funded the charities that paid for flying lessons. Perhaps a Saudi embassy worker in D.C. provided tips on evading the FBI. Perhaps. But the families of those killed have always been denied answers. And still, to this day, portions of the 9/11 Commission report remain classified. It will come as no surprise that those blacked out sections, the stuff we can't read, the things that are withheld from the families of the dead, are about the Saudi involvement. Mr. Biden signed an executive order last year to review declassifying those documents, to finally let the families know the truth. Well, they're still classified. So he and Prince Mohammed bin Salman both know that each man has something the other needs. If $5 a gallon is the price at which Mr. Biden throws morals to the side and kisses the ring of the Saudi royal family, at $6, will he meet with the American oil executives and throw green energy promises out the window? Maybe, just maybe, that's beside the point, or the point when it comes to the American economy. Either way, there is something far, far bigger at stake than oil prices when Mr. Biden visits Saudi Arabia. American credibility and justice are at stake. And by justice, I mean justice for the 2,977 people killed on 9/11. That's On Point tonight. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.